Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to go over in detail some of the top 5 beginner Nepenthes that everyone should have, with care involved as well. I did a short on this last week, the week before, and it was tremendously popular, and I got asked to do a full version of this video with care for all your basic types of Nepenthes. But we're going to go over 5 kinds, and you can put the care together to go with all the rest of them. So this one here is Nepenthes sanguinea. It is one of my top 5 easy beginner Nepenthes that I'm glad I started growing with as well. This is the orange sort of Florida form, I call it. It is sort of mass produced, comes out of Florida, and gets bright orange pitchers with floppy lids. It's super cool, super nice. Good size, not huge pitchers, but this one's yet to color up over here, but a good size. It is planted in a sphagnum moss type mix down there. It's in quite a big pot, so it stays evenly moist and doesn't dry out. If we look up here really slowly, we are growing it under, they look like they're shop lights, but they're actually like LED lights that are meant to look like a shop light. So it's like a double LED light. Nothing too bright for them. One thing about these plants is they don't need massive amounts of light. They love it a little bit shadier. All right, next on the list is a ventricosa. Ventricosa is another easy to grow one. This one is a little bit higher end clone, just like from the short video that I did. This was the one we used. I like it just because the pictures are a little bit bigger, but the care is essentially the same for any ventricosa. Ventricosa is an easy one to seek out and find, and it just has super easy care. It can grow on a windowsill with very little light, and this one here is actually potted up in a coconut husk. So a little bit different medium than the first one, but again, the key is just to keep it dry, or keep it moist and never let it dry out. Ventricosa is interesting because it reacts differently in light. So in light, you're going to find it's going to be a yellower color, as well as the leaves may get smaller. So this is growing under a LED light, but it's probably 3 feet away from it and doing quite good, starting to vine. Also in a fairly big pot, just for stability purposes. Following the short video's tone, here is Nepenthes truncata, another really easy to grow beginner plant if you have the space for it. This guy gets absolutely massive, as you can see from this picture here. It's in a half-gallon pot. It is a sphagnum moss mix, and yeah, this guy is just, he's super easy to grow. Does well in shade, does well in a bit of sun. What I find, if your light is too bright, it does tend to get yellower faster with some red blotches on the leaves. But all of these guys so far will grow just fine in just room temperature. There's no need for Highland greenhouse or nighttime drops in temperature for any of these guys that I've shown so far, which is part of what makes these guys excellent beginner Nepenthes. But the truncata is a spectacular beginner Nepenthes just because it is so big and spectacular. Everything we've seen so far has quite small pictures to it, but truncata is really easy to grow. As for potting media, keep them in the pots for about 2 years, and then it will be time for a repot. If you let the media get sour or start to go bad, it can rot the roots. Okay, and following suit with the YouTube short that we did last week, the 4th plant in the list of easy to grow beginners is Ventrata. And Ventrata gets a lot of slack, but it is absolutely bulletproof and absolutely beautiful. It's just, I moved this one out of its space because it needs to be worked on a little bit. So you can see it's in the light box right now. This is where I would take like photos of stuff and that sort of thing, but I thought it'd be good to show it to you here. The colors are super beautiful, super colorful. And we'll hang out on this guy for a few minutes while I trim some dead leaves. Now, leaves, they randomly just turn brown. Sometimes they have the picture attached, sometimes they don't. And when you trim the leaves is really how much you can stand looking at it. This little picture here that's brown on the top and cream color on the bottom is actually still functioning. There's water in it. It has just decided it has caught enough insects, and it has decided to turn off the trap mechanism. It's no longer creating nectar in the lid in the peristome area of the plants. It's turned itself off and is just digesting what's in there. I bet you if we opened it up, we would find stuff in there. Maybe we'll do that for another video. So this is where, if you can stand looking at it, it's worth leaving it on there. If you can't stand looking at it, you can just cut it off like that as well. So for trimming, we just like to keep them trimmed. A leaf like this here, I'm going to cut off just for now for showing you. This was light damage. It's probably one of the first leaves after. This is a cutting that I made, this whole thing here. This plant I can produce at our nursery enough to sell as many as we want to. Again, it's the Ventrata, like the Florida form. I have a couple forms of Ventrata here. And this one is just the generic one that you'd find at your local nursery or that. I find it super robust. Somebody in the comment section last week asked if I still had it. He asked if I had my super big Ventrata, and this is part of it right here. The Ventrata itself isn't as super big anymore, but this isn't my main plant either. This is just a nice looking one that needed a bit of maintenance while we talk. For light for this guy, it's very, very versatile. If you give it too much light, the leaves are going to turn yellow on them, and that's the same for a lot. The other ones that if you give it too much light, the leaves could get red and blotchy, or they could do nothing at all. Or like I said with ventricosa, which is different than this Ventrata, with ventricosa, the leaves can actually even seem to get smaller, like something is actually wrong with the plant, even though it's not. So yes, this is number 4, super easy to grow ventricosa. If you're looking to get started on Nepenthes, this would be the one to do it. On another note, and question I always get asked is, how come my plant stopped picturing when it got bigger? Well, as the vines vine up, and this one is starting to vine now. Vining is when the nodes get longer between each leaf. So when it starts vining and getting tall, the pitchers that are quite heavy will pull down the vine in the wild if it was to make big, heavy pitchers full of liquid like this. You can see the liquid in there sloshing around. When they become vining, they need some sort of trellis or that to wrap their tendrils around before they make a pitcher, and they will make a lighter, daintier pitcher. It's not quite so obvious in a Ventrata like this. It's a little more obvious in a ventricosa and a sanguinea, and definitely obvious in other species. All right, and we'll move over here. Last but not least is Nepenthes Miranda. Nepenthes Miranda is one of those bulletproof plants that can take any sort of light, any sort of temperature. Again, it's growing right now in warm room temperature. It gets big. It has nice sized pitchers that are really colorful, bigger than the Ventrata, bigger than the ventricosa, bigger than the sanguinea, not quite as big as the truncata. I don't know if you can see that. I put you in too much, didn't I? But nice size, really colorful, really bulletproof. And if you're looking for a big plant, this is going to be the biggest. Let me just see if I can make some adjustments here and just show you just how big this guy is. It's growing in a large pot down there. You're not going to be able to quite see it because it's buried in leaves. It's sitting on a tray on the ground in between the shelves because it was just too big for the shelves. It's taking light from the left and from the right as it grows up. It's kind of growing with the LED lights that are around it. It's growing next to some fly traps growing indoors here. And it's going up. And it's going behind the shelf. And it's going up to the top of the greenhouse up there. Way up there, you can see the light inside the greenhouse. You can see the top of the shelf. And you can see it pitchering as it kind of scrambles along, supporting itself with some big upper pitchers. There's a green upper pitcher up there. But it is quite long. So if you're looking for something big, this is the one to get because they get really, really big. Now, let me just move this tripod back down. But this was, I think, one of my first Nepenthes. Definitely my first Nepenthes that I thought was cool. And you know what? It's still the same plant. I have made cuttings from it. And I made tons of cuttings from it. And it's still a huge plant. And still it always impresses me today. I have this one and I've made like a smaller one right below it just in case something was to ever happen to this guy. But so bulletproof. I think I have the second one just in case because I like it so much. So anyways, that is the top 5 beginner Nepenthes that I think everyone should have. A bunch of care tips for it. We went over lighting, how they don't need strong light. We went over medium, what I have them planted in, sphagnum moss, perlite. Sometimes there's one over there in a coconut husk. Make sure you rinse that well if you're going to try that method. That works really well in the bigger plants. We went over some care and trimming of pitchers. We went over temperatures. These guys are all just in room temperature, and we'll do fine in room temperature. We went over humidity, which again, it's a little bit more humid in here, but they would definitely settle into just normal household condition humidity as well. So anyways, I think these plants are great. We covered everything from small to extra large, and I'm sure one of them will be great for you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you want to see more videos like this, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Thanks for watching.